It started like all great tragedies or miracles do, with a little girl and a fence. My daughter, Lily, just 10 years old, was the one who spotted him, and thank God she did, because if she hadn't, we'd probably be dead or worse. But let me back up, because the moment Dr. Sharma looked at the x-ray and called the police, our lives became something out of a bad military thriller, and honestly, the thought of that day still makes my hands shake. We were the Millers, David, my wife Sarah, our son Jack, and Lily, and we had just moved into my grandfather's old farmhouse in Willow Creek. It's a beautiful, sprawling property, but moving in put us immediately at odds with the local, established property owners, namely Mr. Jenkins, the self-appointed head of the local HOA, a man who believed the land was still his to manage, even after my granddad passed. Jenkins was already giving us grief over fence heights and paint colors, seeing us as city invaders, but that was just prelude. The kids, desperate for a pet, dragged us to the Maplewood Sanctuary. Most dogs were jumping, barking, eager, but Lily stopped at the darkest kennel. Inside was nothing like a dog. It was lean, smooth, almost sculpted, with golden eyes that didn't look at you so much as they analyzed you. The volunteer, Martha, quickly pulled me aside. "That one's Cypher," she whispered. "He's not adoptable. Found him near the old decommissioned research base out past the ridge. He's strange, doesn't eat, never barks, just watches." But as Martha talked, Lily pressed her palm against the wire mesh, whispering something I couldn't hear, and Cypher, this silent, untouchable anomaly, simply walked to the gate, nudged the simple latch with his nose, stepped out, and sat down at Lily's feet like he'd been waiting his whole life. It was a moment of pure, impossible magic that absolutely cemented it for Sarah and me. We had to take him. We thought we were rescuing a broken soul. We were wrong. We brought home a soldier. From day one, Cypher was wrong. He moved through our house like smoke, silent, his paw pads making no noise, even on the hardwood floors. He would only eat small portions of carefully prepared meat, ignoring all commercial dog food, and he never, ever slept. At night, he was always by the back window or the front door, staring out at the perimeter, his eyes glowing faintly in the moonlight. We tried to laugh it off, saying he was a guard dog, but the fear began to settle in my stomach like a cold stone. The first real panic hit during a late-night movie. A police procedural came on, sirens wailing, 9 handlers shouting rapid-fire commands. Cypher went from 0 to pure animal aggression in a split second. He sprang up, growling a noise that didn't come from his throat. It vibrated from his chest, a deep, mechanical rumble. His golden eyes locked onto the screen, fixed, his muscles coiling and twitching, as if recalling an ancient, violent lesson. I scrambled for the remote, but even after the screen was black, Cypher stood panting, tail stiff, surveying the room like a battlefield. Then came the fence. We were sitting down to dinner when a sound, too faint for any of us to place, made Cypher leap to his feet. That terrifying rumble started, and he bolted. I grabbed my hunting flashlight and ran after him, finding him at the far corner of the property, teeth bared, barking for the first time, a sharp, almost guttural warning that cut the night air. The light beam hit the spot, and my blood ran cold. The heavy wooden post was splintered, the wire bent outward, and pressed clearly into the damp earth were the deep, deliberate treads of a military boot. Not animal prints. Not a prank. Someone professional had tried to get in, and Cypher had stopped them. Mr. Jenkins, of course, showed up the next morning, not to ask if we were okay, but to demand we repair the fence according to HOA rules, completely ignoring the boot prints. I realized then that the conflict wasn't just about land. It was about authority. Jenkins saw us as vulnerable outsiders, and now someone else did too. The following week, Cypher stopped eating entirely. He was restless, moving like a phantom. Sarah and I knew we had to take him to the vet. Dr. Anya Sharma, a warm, professional woman, started the routine exam. But the routine ended the second her microchip scanner touched his sleek, dark neck. Beep, beep, beep. The screen flashed a long, impossible alphanumeric code, followed by one single, chilling word: restricted. I saw the color drain from Dr. Sharma's face, her hands trembling as she quietly moved to the office phone, murmuring, "This isn't just a dog, David. This is something else entirely." 15 minutes later, the first siren cut through the quiet town air, followed quickly by a second, and then a third. Blue and red lights flooded the parking lot, and 3 uniformed officers piled out, hands on their belts. Dr. Sharma was pale as she ushered us into the exam room, her voice barely a whisper. "David, Sarah, you need to understand that the code I scanned belongs to a decommissioned federal program. This animal, your dog, he is officially designated AX-09. The lead officer, a tired man named Sergeant Cole, stepped forward. "Ma'am, sir, that dog's microchip is registered under Project Chimera, a classified K-9 initiative shut down 3 years ago. These units were genetically and surgically enhanced for specialized." The clinic erupted. The doors were locked, and the tense silence was punctuated only by the heavy breathing of the officers and Cypher's steady, low growl. The men outside, professional, silent, moving with calculated efficiency, didn't try the door. They just waited. They were led by a man named Commander Hayes, and I knew instantly they weren't interested in legality. They were interested in the black market value of a perfect combat-ready prototype. The local conflict with Jenkins had tipped them off, giving them our address, making them think we were easy marks. "We have to decide now," Dr. Sharma said, her voice strained. "Do we turn him over for deactivation, which means termination, or do you take him home, knowing you're inviting a war?" Sarah didn't even hesitate. "He saved us once, doctor. We don't abandon family." We managed to slip out the back under the cover of the real police cars drawing the majority of the heat, speeding back to Willow Creek under a stark, sunset sky that felt ominous and wrong. We reinforced the locks, but we knew it was useless. We weren't defending against burglars. We were defending against former military. That night was the climax. It was past midnight, and the house was absolutely silent when the lights of 2, then 3 vehicles cut across our bedroom ceiling. Before I could even reach for the phone, Cypher's deep, chest-vibrating snarl ripped through the floorboards. Then came the sound that shattered our sanity, a firm, authoritative voice on the front porch. "Mr. Miller, this is Commander Hayes, Defense Department. Step outside. We are here to collect the asset." I moved toward the door, fury overriding fear. "He is not an asset. He's our son's dog. You are harboring stolen government technology," the voice snapped back, laced with a mockery that implied they knew exactly what they were doing. And then, before I could answer, the world went white. The front window exploded inward, glass raining down as a flash grenade rolled across the living room floor. "Get down!" I screamed, pulling Sarah and Jack low. Cypher was already moving. He didn't bark, didn't hesitate. He hit the first silhouette mid-lunge, a dark, perfect missile, his jaws locking around the man's forearm. The tactical operative screamed, dropping his weapon with a loud clatter. Another raised a weapon, a high-powered tranquilizer rifle. But Cypher was already gone, tackling the second man with a silent, devastating efficiency that belonged on a training simulation, not in our home. "Cypher, stop!" Lily's voice, a raw, terrified shriek, broke through the chaos. And that was the miracle. The dog, this perfectly engineered killing machine, froze. His jaw loosened, his golden eyes flicking from the downed operative's back to the source of the sound. Lily. That moment of hesitation saved us. It gave me just enough time to tackle the third intruder by the kitchen door. The tranquilizer gun discharged, the dart burying itself deep in the wall next to Lily's head, but the men, seeing the chaos, hearing distant sirens approaching, knew their time was up. They scrambled, dragging their injured partners, and peeled away into the darkness. Our living room was a wreck, glass, smoke, a metallic tang of gunpowder and blood. Cypher stood panting, one ear torn, a thin line of red tracing his shoulder where a stray dart had grazed him. He looked at the wreckage, then slowly, hesitantly, turned his eyes back to Lily. She ran to him, throwing her arms around his bloody, muscular neck, whispering, "You saved us again, boy. You chose us." By dawn, The chaos was replaced by professional quiet. Federal Agent Vance, the real deal, arrived with a genuine badge and a team. She confirmed everything. The retrieval team were indeed rogue operatives trying to sell Project Chimera's assets on the black market, and they had been tracking Cypher using his old frequency near our property. She crouched down, her tone respectful. "Okay, 9 Unit AX, 09, she said softly. His last core programming command was simple: guard. But the choice to guard this family, to fight against the signal, that was his own evolution. I knew what was coming. The house was too hot, too exposed. Cypher was too valuable and too much of a target. Agent Vance confirmed the transfer. Cypher wouldn't be deactivated. He would be reassigned to the Humanitarian Deployment Division, utilizing his unique abilities for global search and rescue. Lily, heartbroken, clung to him as we said goodbye by the open SUV. Cypher, however, walked into the vehicle without hesitation, his tail low, his eyes calm, almost understanding. He was going to work. He was going to save people. He pressed his head into Lily's chest one last time, a soft, almost imperceptible whine leaving his throat, a promise or maybe just a goodbye. The black SUV rolled away, leaving us standing in the gravel drive, heartbroken, changed but alive. A year later, a letter arrived bearing the official seal. Inside was a simple photo. Cypher, lean, magnificent,